For ACUsports.com, I'm Austin Gwin talking a little women's hoops here. To my left, head coach Julie Goodenough, and to my right, freshman center forward Sydney Shelstead. Sydney, we'll start with you. You were a four-sport athlete in high school. Basketball, of course, softball, volleyball, and you threw the discus for track.
Yes.
Not to mention top 10%. You didn't have time for soccer. What was going on there?
I just not good enough for soccer, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And it conflicts with basketball and track.
So what made you choose basketball to play in college?
All just the time, because I've worked since I was itty bitty. I've always, my dad and my parents, just so much devotion to basketball and probably what I'm best at.
So you're a freshman. You're 2 games into your first year here at ACU. What do you think?
I like it. I was a little skeptical at first, but I love having all freshmen and working together because we'll be able to be so good when we're older, and as long as we stick together, and it's fun to work on leadership as together.
Right.
Because Renata, she leads us, but we also have to suck it up for ourselves and lead and help each other. And
Yeah, a lot of freshmen on that team, and you guys beat Texas Lutheran in your opening game. I scored 111 points. Not as good of an offensive output probably against Wayland Baptist, but you still came away with a big win. You had a double-double against Wayland. How do you think you played in that game on Monday night?
I thought I played pretty good. Thought I could have done a little bit better on offense and finished around the basket, but I was good, and I was pleased with my rebounds because that was my focus on before the game, was to get as many rebounds as possible and just try to crash and box out and get rebounds. So that's what I'm good with how I played.
Right. Thanks. We'll move on to your coach here, Coach Goodenough. 2 big wins, and you actually scored more points in that game last week against Texas Lutheran than you scored all of last year, 111 points. What have you seen so far from your young squad?
Well, we've got a very talented freshman class, and they are just freshmen, but so they don't bring a lot of or any college experience to the program or to this season. I mean, they're just now getting their feet wet as far as playing at this level, but they've really learned how to work hard, and if you go hard, good things are going to happen for you. And so I think that with the leadership of our returners, they've really learned how to work hard in practice, and we want to play a high tempo, as fast as we can style of play, and they're figuring that out, and that's really hard for teams to defend. And we didn't score as many points against Wayland as we did Texas Lutheran, but I was still really pleased with the offensive side of the ball. But I think the biggest improvement we made over Game 1 and Game 2 was just being more intense defensively. We only gave up 59 points, and that's going to be it's tough to hold someone to 59 points regardless of who you're playing, and so I was most pleased probably with the defensive effort.
And what have you seen so far from your young freshman center, Sydney Shelstead?
Sydney's a hard worker, and she has a pretty special skill set. She's good around the basket. She has good hands for rebounding, catching around the basket. She's got a really nice three-point shot, and she hasn't really been on the perimeter very much in these first 2 games, but she's got a good shot. So she's a good scoring threat close to the basket, and she has some good range as well.
One of the surprises maybe from Monday night was your sophomore point guard, Sumitra Mimi Jenkins. She had 16 points, made all 6 of her shots, 3 steals, all in the second half. How big of a spark plug was she for you guys Monday night?
Oh, she was a tremendous spark for us. She came in, and we immediately forced a turnover, and she benefited and got the layup at the other end. And her performance on Monday, though, I think was just a great example of what putting in extra time on your own can do for you. She's in the gym shooting extra almost on a daily basis, and her three-point shots were nothing but net. I mean, they were perfect shots, and I think that's just a testimony to the extra work that she's putting in on her own.
You've got Angelo State coming up tomorrow night. A foe that you're more familiar with maybe than your first 2 opponents. You played them last year, and they're actually led by a former ACU player, Hillary Adams. I know you never coached her. What have you seen so far from Angelo, and what do you expect tomorrow night?
Well, they have a new coaching staff, and they've got some new players that have stepped up to help them, but the core of their team are the returners from last year, and they're actually running some of the same things they did last year. Really tough-nosed team. They go really hard on the offensive end, put you in a position where you're a little bit foul-prone just because they go so hard. Defensively, they're going to make you play kind of ugly, and we've just got to be patient offensively and really work to get the shots that we want. But I think it's going to be a good battle, good competition. Their new coach, Kayla Petrie, I've known her since she played at Cisco High School, and actually recruited her several years ago to come play for me. And she is just a really hard-nosed young coach herself, and she's going to have her team ready to play. So we've got to be ready to protect our home court on Thursday.
Awesome. Well, good luck. ACU and Angelo State at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll have video and audio right here on acusports.com. For the coach, Julie Goodenough, and freshman center, Sydney Shelstead, I'm Austin Gwin.